Go. See how this, oh, there we go. All right. Let everybody know who you are and what you do.
So my name is Diane Reynolds, and my husband and I run a nonprofit called Matthew's Light, and we help the homeless.
Awesome. So how did you guys get started in this? Actually, pull that just a little bit closer.
Better?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, we started about 10 years ago volunteering at our church.
Okay.
And then we had an opportunity to volunteer at a warming station overnight that was housing homeless during the winter.
Real quick, what's a warming station?
It's in place of a shelter.
Okay.
That they can't reside there, but we can set up temporary cots, and then they have to leave the next morning.
So for around here, nights when it's dipping down into the 30s, 40s. Right. Okay.
And this was back in New York.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm just curious, in New York, when do they open those kind of places up? Is it same temperatures, or is it?
Yeah, during the winter,
okay.
They open it. So it's the beginning of winter through the first day of spring that those are open. And this one was at a church.
Okay.
So I spent the first night doing that. They had to have a monitor overnight to stay awake while the clients were sleeping.
Okay.
And that was my first introduction to homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a little nervous to start because I had never been exposed to it before.
Right.
But as I sat there and I talked to them and I got to hear their stories and find out that they were actually employed or they had hopes and dreams and what got them to that position, my heart was just opened up completely.
Right.
So my husband and I moved to Texas 2 years ago.
Welcome.
Thank you. And we started working with another couple who feed the homeless. Just a couple of people go down once a month and just feed the homeless.
Right.
And we were so struck by that. The people down by Minute Maid, we started going more often, and then we started bringing them some provisions, some clothes, some hygiene products.
Yeah.
And we were so moved by everything that we decided that we needed to go bigger. So we made our own nonprofit.
Okay.
So now there's a community that we serve there that's about 300 homeless people.
Wow.
And we go down with 50 volunteers. It's completely, totally volunteer. Nobody takes a salary.
Okay.
And we bring them a wonderful lunch. But then they go down the line. They get their hygiene packs. They get clothes, shoes, blankets, coats. There's a prayer team there if they want it. Nothing is forced on them.
Right.
My husband is a pastor, and he oversees the prayer team for that to talk to the people if they need that. We also hand out information for other resources to help them get off the street. But people don't really know that if you apply for assistance through the city, through the state, it can take up to 2 years before you reach the top of the list and you're actually housed.
Okay.
So they're on the streets waiting for their number to come up, so to speak.
So one, real quick, I want everybody listening because we have people that listen across the country. And Minute Maid Park is downtown Houston. It's the middle of downtown Houston, which I would imagine there's a lot of congregating homeless people in the downtown area.
Yes.
Probably more than 300 than the people that you're dealing with.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but man, I forget where I was going with that. I wanted to make sure people know what Minute Maid was. What is assistance? I mean, because you say it can take 2 months to get assistance.
It could take 2 years.
2 years, sorry.
Yes.
2 years to get assistance.
To come to the top of the list to be placed in an apartment or housed.
Okay, so housing assistance.
Yes.
This isn't like food stamps this is just housing.
Correct.
Okay. And why is it taking so long for people to get help with that?
There's just no affordable housing anymore. And that's a big problem.
Okay.
When we started doing this, it was 5 volunteers, and we would serve 50, 60, maybe 65 people.
Right.
And then the moratorium on the evictions from COVID ended. And overnight, we had another 100, and then shortly after that, another 100. So then we were up to 300, and it just kept growing. And that became the issue. But a lot of the people that are down there are employed.
Homeless but employed.
Yes.
Okay.
They cannot afford the rents. The rents have gone up so high that if you're making $15 at 18, even $20 an hour, you can't afford the rents now. So they're working and they're homeless.
Do you have any idea about what the average rent is in that area for low? I would imagine low income housing is what is that.
But that's almost impossible to find, and that's the problem.
Because there's no available low income housing.
Right.
So they're having what they're having to do is actually step up to another level of residence that
Right.
they can't afford.
Right.
What is that level? Do you know what that?
I'm not quite sure what the rents are down there.
I mean, like, it's downtown Houston. I mean, like, up here, I mean, like, I think it's averaging like $2,000 a month
Yes.
for like a
Even-
one bedroom, 2 bedroom
Right.
apartment.
Even if it was $1,800 down there, if you're making $15 an hour,
That's just not happening.
it's just right.
Yeah.
Even if you can afford the rent, then you can't afford the utilities. You can't afford food.
Yeah.
Things. And then I'm constantly hearing, well, they just need to go get a job. But who's going to hire them if they don't have access to a shower?
Right.
Or if they don't have clothes to change into, or even an address to fill out their forms?
Right.
So it goes deeper than tell them to just get a job.
Yeah. Well, and we used to, my wife and I and a group of our friends, we used to work with quite a few homeless people just in the Spring area. There was a big population at an overpass that we lived near, and we decided every Sunday we were just going to take dinner. And I think we ended up doing that for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And one of the things I remember vividly about most of those guys is they said, if I could just get a driver's license,
Yeah.
if I could just get identification, things would change.
Yes. But you can't get identification without an address.
Right. And so, like, I think a lot of people don't understand that, like, there are barriers there because of that. Like, you can't say the tent underneath the overpass
Is your address.
it just doesn't work.
Right.
And then most of them had stories of families that had, just been at their wits' end with them. And this is just, they had no other options because their families were just done with them.
Absolutely.
For whatever reason.
And there is lots of reasons.
Right.
About over 30% of the men down there are veterans. So that hurts a lot of the time. My husband's a veteran.
Okay.
So he is very focused on helping them and talking to them.
Yeah. So if you're a homeless guy or gal and you're a veteran, can you go to the VA? I mean,
For housing?
no. For I'm just wondering.
For their medical coverage
Yeah.
and things. Yes, they can do that.
Well, I'm wondering, like, how that works if they don't have, like, identification, or, you know what I mean? I mean,
There are organizations that help them get their forms and things they need. So, they can absolutely get help from the VA.
Are those things that you guys help assist with at all, or are you guys mainly focused on just helping giving them care there?
We are giving them care there, but we do have, like, information to give them where to go
Okay.
if they need further assistance.
And how many, like, auxiliary organizations are you guys working with?
Oh, I don't know. I would say at least 10.
Really?
Yeah.
And each one of those is doing something different, huh?
Correct.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is something that you think most people don't understand about homeless people in general?
In general, that most people are afraid of them,
Okay.
and they're so nice.
Sure.
They're on hard times.
Mm-hmm.
They have hopes, they have dreams. They don't want to be there there's a very small percentage that does want to stay out there.
Right.
But they really want to get off the streets. This is not the life that they chose.
Right.
For whatever reason, where they were abused or things have happened, and they made mistakes, so maybe they have a record, and getting a job that's any kind of job when you have a record could be very difficult.
Yeah.
So to restart programs, we need more of. But it's just that it's so expensive right now.
Yeah, and I can imagine, like, at some point, it's just, there's like a level of hopelessness that probably settles in.
Right.
Like, why would I take this little step when, like I'm not going to get a house because it's taken 2 years. I talked to my buddy, and and sometimes the 2-year thing is not even happening.
Right.
Well, and, like, that's something I'm just curious about in general. Like, if it's taken 2 years and these people don't have addresses, how are they finding them to let them know that they've been approved or rejected or?
They do have to keep checking in.
Okay. So it's like a.
Right. And they do get phones from assistance programs to keep
Okay.
checking in.
Okay. And is this a government program?
Yeah.
Okay. So who are they checking in with?
They all have caseworkers.
What I'm asking, like, what is the department or?
It would probably be under the HUD, and also their social services program. There's lots of social services programs that are through the city.
So is it like an office you just kind of walk into and?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm half curious, going like, if I'm ever homeless, I need to know this. Where do I go?
Well, we have big plans. In the future, we're talking to people about starting something big,
Okay.
which hopefully is something that can be replicated in other inner city areas.
Okay.
Where we want to take an abandoned building, an abandoned warehouse, and be future thinking with sustainable energies, make it a sustainable building, aquaponics, indoor gardening.
Oh, you're talking my language with aquaponics.
Yes.
I love that stuff.
Yes.
So it's super cool.
We're talking to a very interesting company that is going to partner with us to try to make this happen.
Okay. Very cool. So, and so what would be your end goal with that? Why do you want to have all those things in place?
So basically it would be sort of like a shelter, but the problem with some of the shelters when I talk to the men is they don't want to be in a group with all men. They don't feel
with old men?
With all men.
All men. I got you.
Room.
Okay.
In one room.
Well, that's ageism.
Yeah. So they don't want to risk their stuff being stolen. They don't want to fight.
Yeah.
They don't want to be kept up all night. So that's why most of the men prefer to stay out on the streets than go to the shelter.
Okay.
So if we started with more of a sleep pod, like a single room, no amenities in it, just a bed.
I got you.
So they had their own private space, safety to get off of the street.
That I guess they could lock during the day.
Yes.
Or okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to leave it during the day. This is just a safe place to sleep at night.
Ah. Okay. Yeah.
And then if they want to go through the programs, we want to offer them programs from rehab, drug programs, job training, things like that we could do. And then they can move up into one of the apartments as they're going through, like a studio. And it'll be communal meals and things like that.
Sure.
So, but let's teach them future industries. Let's teach them the sustainable energies and the hydroponic and aquaponic gardening.
Yeah.
Let's train them how to really be self-sufficient. And the people that we're planning on working with, can I say their name?
Sure, yeah.
The Kalos Project.
Kalos?
Kalos Project.
Okay, what's that?
They're the ones that are planning on doing the aquaponics.
Okay.
And that sort of things.
Is that something they're already involved with?
Yeah, they're wonderful. They're young group of kids that are just going to take over the world one day. They're
I'd love
amazing.
to talk to them because I've been looking into aquaponics for the last 5 years.
Right.
That's something I want to eventually put into my property. It's just such an interesting closed ecosystem for creating sustainable food.
Right. Well, Justin Wiley, if you're listening. But that is that would be like a model that can be replicated inner city. I'm talking about.
Right.
All around the country, even internationally.
Mm-hmm.
One-stop shopping to get people off the streets completely. So that's kind of our goal, is to be future-driven and not replicating what's already out there.
I'll tell you one that you can add to your list that would be really helpful.
Yes.
Is beekeeping.
Yes, on the roof. Why not?
Well, no, and here's the thing: is a lot of people don't realize this. Bees in inner cities do better than bees in the countryside.
Okay.
Particularly in cities like Houston, where they have railways. And there's a lot of theories to it. What a lot of people think is because these railways have these hubs inside big cities, that they're actually bringing in a lot of pollens on the rail cars.
Nice.
That's a smorgasbord of healthy diet for the bees, rather than just a monolithic diet of like almonds or oranges or whatever.
Right.
They're getting stuff from all over the country that's then being brought into that hub, and so then they have this buffet.
Right. Varied diet.
Yeah, and so like they're finding like bees on top of hotel roofs that are like, really, really high, where bees typically don't do really well because they don't like to fly very high, but the hives themselves are thriving.
Interesting.
So yeah, and so like inner cities seem to be a really good place to raise. In fact, I had a buddy for a long time. He had taken over like an abandoned warehouse, and it was just full of bees.
Nice.
He just had hives all over the place, and like he was getting it for free because no one wanted that property. And then the bees were kind of acting like guard dogs to keep people out from vandalizing the place.
Yeah, we really want to get to know a lot more forward-thinking people.
Yeah.
People that are interested in making a difference, but changing the way we do things.
So do you guys, I mean, what kind of resources do you guys need to accomplish your goals?
Money.
Do you know how much?
It's we don't know yet. We're just going to start meeting with the architects and things like now and work on our business plan. So before we do that, we're going to open a resale shop is our plan. So that can start funding our outreaches.
Okay.
We're solely reliant on donations now. And those are a little bit hard to come by because the homeless are not a warm, fuzzy group of people that people really want to.
Excuse me.
God bless
Sorry.
you.
Thank you.
That people really want to give their money for.
Sure.
With all these misconceptions about why they're homeless, and it's not easy to get donations for that.
Yeah.
But we have the meat donated to us for when we feed them.
Okay.
From the Cowboy Church Meat Ministry.
Okay. Those guys are awesome.
They are awesome.
Yeah.
So it still costs us about $300 a month to get the styrofoam, clamshells, and side dishes and things like that.
Let me ask you, what kind of meat are you getting from those guys?
It varies. We get pork that we do pulled pork.
Okay.
We get ground beef, which we make chili or sloppy joes and stuff like that. We just got some roasts yesterday that we put up in the freezer for next time.
No wild game? I would imagine from the Cowboy Church you got to be getting some wild game.
They've offered it, but I don't know what to do with it.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, I can help you with that.
But you're going to make 100 pounds of meat for us?
Yeah.
Okay. So
100 pounds is nothing.
Make it up, and you could come feed the homeless with us.
We did it for a long time. Like 100 pounds is not. I mean, like what have they offered you?
Well, they make me offers, and I'm always just like, I'll take the beef.
Take the beef.
I
know what to do with that.
Yes, exactly.
Well, depending on what it is, I mean, I would imagine it's either venison or pork that you're getting from wild game around, at least around here.
Oh, probably.
Probably not getting any squirrel.
They raise the cows and they go through their rodeo circuit.
Right.
Once the cows go to slaughter, then they donate all of the meat to.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, different charities and different organizations.
Huh. Who's I'm trying to think of the famous rock and roll guitarist that's a big game hunter. Ted Nugent. Thank you. See, yeah, we can be friends. That's what he does. Is most like he takes big groups on hunts and then he donates all the venison to homeless shelters.
Nice.
To feed them, and I mean because it's crazy nutritious meat and all that kind of good stuff.
Absolutely.
But, yeah. Because you mentioned that you started in New York, I'm curious. Is there a difference, at least that you've noticed, between the homeless population there and the homeless population here?
No, not really.
Really?
I think people are people no matter where you go. Just the accents are different.
The accents are different?
That's it. So, yeah, there's really no difference.
And I know one of the things that a lot of people bring up when they start talking about the homeless population in general is mental health.
Yes.
How big of an issue is that in your mind? And then, is it a big issue in your mind?
It is. It
Yeah.
is we have several people that have mental issues that we bring provisions to every month. So that's definitely a barrier to them moving forward.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why a lot of people are sort of standoffish with them because they don't know how to engage that or really how to even deal with that at all. Yeah. Is that a significant barrier for people getting involved?
Absolutely. It was for me in the
Yeah.
beginning. Everybody's a little nervous, but they don't know because they're stigmatized. The homeless are stigmatized, and they've just been given such a bad rap.
Yeah.
But, go to an outreach, volunteer somewhere with a group of people so you're not afraid and get to talk to them.
Yeah.
And they really are wonderful people. We have one of our famous homeless, I call him famous because everybody knows him. And his name is Grant, and he's been there as long as we have. He comes and he gets his stuff, but it took us over a year before he would even look at us. And now he jumps and he smiles for pictures, and we adore him. And every time we come, he says, I need a Bible. So we go get him a Bible. And he says, well, I need two. I need one for this guy over here, but there's never anybody next to him. So we say, okay, Grant, you can have two Bibles.
Yeah.
So, and he's very happy when he leaves. So he's my favorite. But if anybody is curious, they're welcome to come do an outreach with us.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that'd be a good idea for anybody. I mean, look, go with people who understand what's going on. Because I think for a lot of people, they feel like it's an unsafe situation.
Right.
You know?
And we have never had any problems.
Yeah.
Not a single instance.
I mean, because I think that's what people are afraid of. They're afraid that because there's an issue of mental health, that they're going to experience violence of some sort. And I'm with you. Like I've worked with the homeless many, many times, and like when I initially started, I was concerned.
Sure. And
we had a police officer with us at all times, just because we didn't know.
Absolutely.
You know, and we don't want to take any chances. But like over time, it was like, well, this is kind of silly. That's Steve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's just how it was.
Yep. And they come and they give us hugs, and you know they know we're going to be there. We're down there the second Saturday of every month. They know we're going to be there. They're online waiting for us when we pull up. So it's something that's necessary just to bring them this stuff, like the hygiene packs we give them. A lot of people will give us soap and shampoo, but if you don't have access to running water, that's not really something. So we give out baby wipes, deodorant, toothbrush, and toothpaste. That's the minimum that we put into our hygiene packs.
Okay.
But that costs us $5 per pack.
Oh, wow.
So, because we've never had enough donations to buy in a large bulk to reduce that price.
Okay.
So every month we go and we buy exactly what we need, because that's all the money we have every month.
So no one's donating those things?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be helpful.
That would be very helpful.
So somebody listening could donate
baby wipes.
Baby wipes.
Absolutely.
What else?
If you're a dentist, send me toothbrush and toothpaste.
Yeah, because they get them, I mean, they've got boxes of them.
Absolutely.
That they hand out for free.
Yes. So we can use that, and so the baby wipes and the deodorant are the big thing. That's the biggest part of our expense.
Huh. I know several dentists. That should be an easy one.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, and I don't intend it for it to be a controversial question or anything, but how much of the way homeless people behave is us putting our expectations on them? You know what I mean?
Yes. And I think people will live up to or down to your expectations.
Yeah, I think so too. I really do. Yep. I mean, like, you know, when so many people, and I'm guilty of this too, when you see the person at the intersection holding the sign, holding the cup, asking for change, I think your instinctual reaction is to look away.
Yes.
You know, I over the years have purposely tried to, rather than give them money, smile and wave,
right,
or at least say hello to them.
Yes.
But like never try to I never try and give them money. Yeah. And I'm not saying that you're bad if you do give them money. I think it's fine to give them money, if you want to.
Right.
But like, don't treat them as if there's something that can be unseen or shouldn't be looked at. No.
Right.
Yeah.
I suggest people keep a blessing pack in their car.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that could be the hygiene products we just talked about. Maybe a couple of dollars if that's on your heart. Pair of socks, but just as you're driving by and you see them, hand them a blessing pack.
Yeah.
Instead.
Awesome. Well, it's been really good talking to you. I really appreciate you sitting down and sharing. I hope you get lots of donations and lots of love online because of this.
Yes. MatthewsLight.org.
Oh yeah. Okay. Is that a good? Can you donate from the website?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Is there if people want to get involved, do they go to the website?
Yep. They can reach us from the website.
And if they just want to email you?
It's Diane R.
Okay.
At MatthewsLight.org.
Okay. I'll try and remember that. Get it in the show notes so I can link it up. People want to find you, they can find you.
That would be great.
Thank you so much for sitting down.
Thank you for talking to me.
Oh, of course.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. Good. And I didn't get to meet you, but it's good to see you. Thank you for the help on the name.
That's my husband. That's Pastor Ed Reynolds.
Pastor Ed.
Right. And if you want to talk to Pastor Ed, it's pastored at MatthewsLight.org.
Oh, she's lighting you up right now.